We are live. What is up, friendly neighborhood nerds? We're gonna kind of let the chat fill up just a itsy bitsy bit. But I think you all know why you're here today. I know why I'm here.
I'm still. I have no clue. You told me to sign on, so
yeah.
No.
Just do your best. This is Club Valiant. This is technically the first episode, unless you count 0 episode, which I don't, because it's 0 episode. So this is episode number 1 of Club Valiant. This is the show where we all read the Valiant reading order in TPBs in chronological order. And by the end of this, in like 3 years, we're going to have the best Valiant headcanon in the entire world.
Everyone will know Valiant. Well,
yes,
everyone who watches this.
Yeah, like we could be studying science or math or like another language, but we are devoting our brain power to mastering Valiant. So
Valiant expert.
Yeah,
that's it.
We'll have our doctorates by the end of this show. So, what was it this week? It was X-O Manowar Volume 1 by the Sword. Real quick, just around the room. So we have myself, Judah Rad. We have Robo Strange. We have Fortress Chris Runt from Fortress of Comics News, and we have our friend Glynis joining us here. G Money, I think, is what we're gonna go by. Cool. And we're going to really just break this first trade paperback into a million pieces and really explore it and get into it. So what is it? X-O Manowar Volume 1 by the Sword. Writer Robert Venditti. Got pencils from Carrie Nord. Ink by Stefano Guadiano. Colors from Moose Bauman. And then letters from David Lamphere.
Before we jump into it, can I just ask you guys a question? I didn't start reading Valiant until Michael Malone brought it up, right? So I'm like, he says, you got to read this. I'm like, okay, let me check it out. I loved it. Same with you. I think you gave it a chance, but you really started diving in when Michael Malone just kept saying, read it, right? And then you just went,
I tried it a little bit before that, and I was like, this is neat, but his enthusiasm definitely propelled me headfirst into it.
That's right. And then G and Chris, you read, right? The Valiant books?
This was my first one.
Okay, so no, that's good. So that's your first one.
Yeah.
How is Valiant not like, how are we not saying the big 3?
For the past 3 days since I finished this, I've said way too many times to Dakota, why hasn't Apple optioned this for a universe?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a gold mine. They're sitting on a gold mine.
It's insane. It's insane. I just don't get it. But there's got to be something. I don't know what it is.
I think it's market saturation, if I were to guess.
It's money, I think, because if we even look at the big 2, the MCU is far superior to what DC is putting out in the law of averages. Mm-hmm. And a big part of that is, if we saw the recent news with AT&T, there's just not as much money in DC as there is in Marvel. And Disney can just throw $1 billion at something and then wipe its ass with another $1 billion, and it's no big deal. So I think that's a big part of it. Is we tried Bloodshot, and apparently I didn't watch it, but apparently it didn't work. And maybe you need a big backer behind it to really make it work.
Yeah. It's a shame because when I saw Bloodshot, I didn't love it the first time I saw it. I kind of grew to like it later on once I sort of got used to what it was. But I think they made a big mistake with their approach to it, because don't try to make Valiant like Marvel or DC. Let Valiant be Valiant. It's different, Let it be different. Don't try to recreate or model after that. You know what I'm saying? Or compete with that.
I think they made the mistake of, we have Vin Diesel. So what do we do with them?
Right.
As opposed to I am the Valiant expert, even though I've only read this one volume. But it would, after reading this, it makes more sense to start here and maybe make this your Iron Man and then move on from there. But they had Vin Diesel, so they're like, well, we have the pacifier, we gotta do something with him.
Right.
That's right.
It's the sci-fi geeks superhero universe, more so than I think Marvel or DC. It's for like kind of like those sci-fi geeks, people who like deep world building, like Star Trek-esque type, like nitty gritty. How does this thing work in the future or in this world?
Yeah.
And I think that they need to like really like that instead of try to dumb that down and be more like other things.
Yeah,
but
for sure. Hopefully Apple sees that. I like that idea. If Apple starts pouring money into this, I think this is a lot of good stuff in there. Aramis, thanks for joining us. Danny M from Next Issue Podcast. What's up? Daniel Delgado. What's going on? Hey, Danny M, start with the Valiant universe. Start the Valiant universe with Ninjak. I have to disagree. Start the Valiant universe with this episode, X-O Manowar, Volume 1, By the Sword. That's where we're going to start. That's where you should start too. Just kidding.
Hell yeah. Before we continue.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
But before we continue, I'm going to make this fast. We are giving away Bad Idea Comics. Dinesh Shamdazani was on the show. He is the co-founder and CEO, chief creative officer of Bad Idea. And he gave us a bunch of free stuff to give away to you. So this is going to be on, what was the day again? Wednesday after Memorial Day?
Yep.
So Wednesday the 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do a live stream. And during that live stream, there will be 3 raffles. And during those raffles, we will give away ENIAC number 1, first print, white letters. ENIAC number 2, first print, white letters. And Tankers number 1, first print, white letters. So definitely want to be there. You definitely want to be subscribed because you will win free shit. Free shit. Yeah. You'll win it. So
this one. Not this exact one, but this one is going to be the grand prize. So check it out.
I would be so excited if I were you.
Yeah, and everybody out there, if you like podcasts, this show is a podcast as well. So go find it on Podcatchers. It's fun.
Yep. What is it called? Fortress something or other?
Well, this has its own feed. It's Club Valiant. It's starting to hit things everywhere. So I know it's on Spotify already. I think it's on Stitcher. Apple sucks, so it takes forever to get on iTunes.
Yeah.
And then I'm going down the list from there. But yeah, you can find that there. But if you want my other show, Force Comic News, yeah, we're doing that too. And we just interviewed Colin Bunn like an hour ago. So that's going to be tomorrow's episode.
Yeah, he's cool as fuck.
It's like the 20th time I've had him on the show, but I could keep having him because he's a cool dude.
He's like the world's nicest guy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
So X-O Manowar Volume 1, By the Sword. We're going to break this into issues. So first, we're going to kind of talk about issue number 1. What happens in issue number 1? So check this out. It's 402 AD. The story begins in the heat of an epic, violent battle between the Romans and the Visigoths. So you look at the first big splash page. Goths badly outnumbered, and we're not talking about the Goth. We're not talking about black nail polish Goths. We're talking about like the Visigoth warriors from ancient Rome. So badly outnumbered, but now we're about to meet supreme badass motherfucker Aric of Dacia, who proves that he's a supreme badass by slaying all these motherfuckers. Basically, turns the tide of the entire battle, wins the fight. But it's a very short-lived victory because then an alien race called the Vine arrive. They kidnap Aric and a bunch of his fellow Visigoths. While they're enslaved on the Vine ship, we get a look at this weird sacred armor. And the way we get a look at it is it's like this sacred artifact, and this Vine dude tries it on, and it kills him because he is not worthy of this armor. So that's all in the first issue. It's a loaded first issue, but that's what happens. I'll talk about it in a moment, but I'm real curious for people who are reading it for the first time. We'll start with Glynis. What did you think about this first issue?
So, like, starting out, it felt a lot like my mom really loved Prince Valiant, that like comic strip. She got the funnies first because she had to read Prince Valiant. She'd been reading it since she was like 14 when they started printing it. Yeah. And when I started, I was like, I feel like I'm reading Prince Valiant again.
Nice.
Because I read it because I wanted to know why it was good, and I still don't understand. So then I'm like, okay, I think I have this figured out. And then aliens show up, and then they have cool armor, and I'm like, okay, I think I've got this figured out. And then the armor kills them.
Yeah.
This will repeat throughout every book, but just like every time I thought, like, okay, I see where they're going with this. You didn't.
Yeah.
3 for a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, what did you think about that first issue?
I thought it was a decent setup. The historical aspect was interesting, but like G said, as soon as aliens showed up, there was a glimmer in my eye. I'll say right from the start, though, Corey and my boy Moose killed it on the art. Like the colors for that first issue are just fantastic, and I thought the storytelling through the art was just top notch. So I really liked it.
Yeah. The way they drew the aliens, that's exactly what I was going to say. Obviously, the story is freaking, it's amazing, but the art just really kind of pulls you in there.
And I'm trying to remember if it's the first issue or not, but when they get to the garden, and the colors really pop, and it's just this vibrant world. Like I was pulled in immediately on that.
Super neon and juicy. Yeah. And then he gets his hand. Yeah, well, we'll get to that, but
I'm going to be honest with you. I read through the volume, so when you're like, I'm looking at your notes here, I'm like, all right, that was issue 1, because I just kept reading through. So it's all one big book in my brain. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure which issue happens where. So
yeah, I like the setup. Gilad, any Patty in the comments kind of corrected me. Yeah, you're right. They lost the battle. It was just.
I was going to say, didn't he rush in and kind of lose?
Yeah. He went full. He went full Leroy Jenkins. They didn't win. I don't know what I was thinking.
You and I remember this battle very differently.
Yeah. So I remember it in like the series of images, and the image that like is just like so prominent in my mind is this just fucking hacking, slashing shit right here, where Aric is just like supreme badass, just like slaying these fools right here.
Yeah.
But they lost. They took some pretty heavy losses. It's pretty terrible.
What's up, Rubik's? All the way from Facebook. Hell yeah. Glad to have you here.
I think like kind of Glynis and Chris sort of touched on it, but I think the part of this that really just like got me super pumped was the whole like, oh, this isn't a historical fiction. This is like this is bigger than I could possibly imagine. Like now there's fucking aliens. Like I just like that mixing of genres where you get like it's Spartacus and now it's like just something completely entirely different. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. See anyone in the chat? So Gilad, named after the Eternal Warrior. Hell yeah, he's a badass. I wholeheartedly agree. I definitely like this Aric dude. I like how he's just like full blown warrior mode.
Okay, did everyone pronounce it Aric? Because I said Aric in my head, not Aric.
You're probably right. That sounds a lot more like
Aric. Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
Okay.
Yeah. I said Aric, but
see, this is why like I love audiobooks because I'm like I could be making this up.
Yeah. I mean, like everybody learns how to pronounce A's differently, so I mean, it might be a regional thing. So
it's like when they introduced, I don't even know the proper way to say it because I've said Mixoplex for so long that when they introduced him in Supergirl, I'm just like, that's not how you say that. And of course, I'm the one who's wrong, but you know,
of course.
Yeah. What about Dacia? Dacia or Dacia or Dacia?
Yeah.
Aric of Dacia. I would say Dacia. I don't know.
I probably would say Dacia with a
Dacia.
with a SH sound just because I'm fancy like that. Bougie.
I love this splash page with the like regiments here, and like look at this like disorganized force.
That's right.
Of like barbarian Visigoths.
It's so like cinematic. I can watch it while I'm reading, and I love when you can do that with a comic.
Yeah, 100%. So, issue number 2 is where shit gets kind of we learn a little bit more. So you got this. It starts off with a flashback of Aric. I'll try to get Aric into my brain. Aric sharing kind of an intimate moment with his super hot redheaded wife Deirdre, and she kind of looks like the Little Mermaid with legs. Kind of. That's what she looks like to me. But then
so Little Mermaid.
So Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
The Little Mermaid. Yeah.
You get past the intro, huh? Like stupid movie. Boop.
Yeah. I was like,
it's better.
What? There's talking fish. What the hell is this shit? Yeah. So anyway, after that flashback, reality just comes in, and we're shown basically what's going on this Vine ship. and you have Aric, and he's with his like fellow Visigoths. They're prisoners. They're harvesting this like weird fruit thing that you're apparently not supposed to eat. Because if you eat it, the vine get really pissed because it's like their offspring or some shit.
Yeah,
And then,
I assumed it was their kids. Like those are eggs.
Oh my god!
I guess they're like egg fruits. Egg fruit. That sounds disgusting, but yeah.
Read this twice.
And then
I've just never gotten
basically-
that mad about like for food.
no normal people get that mad about food. A vine. This is a vine problem.
Is it the last? Is it the last slice? Because
So
I don't know.
That God dude got pretty mad about it with the whole Apple thing. Like,
Facts.
yeah, he was very upset. Yeah. So
I told you not that one.
there's like an altercation, and they end up hacking off Aric's arm. And then it's like the time jump. There's a year. It's a year later, and the Visigoth slaves, led by Aric, basically it's time for them to do their escape that they've planned out, and they do the escape. There's a big, awesome action sequence that ends with Aric donning the armor and not dying.
Yeah.
He is worthy, and that is the end of that issue. You find out that's the end of the issue, and it's just like oh, you motherfuckers are fucked. Like super exciting.
Yep, a little bit of a Thor thing going on there. So now he's worthy. I like the whole slave rebellion thing that just kind of like continues linking back to the whole Roman era thing. Obviously not the slave rebellion that's popular, but I like how they kind of
Spartacus vibes.
Yeah.
I dug how he turned into Mega Man. I'm really excited for Rush to show up. And maybe roll as well. No, I like that too. The whole the religious aspect of this holy armor that nobody's been able to get, and all of a sudden some scummy humans able to put it on. Like it was a cool little twist in that.
I just like that they've been able to maintain a religion based around an armor that no one can actually wear.
That's right.
Yeah,
but I mean, religions.
But like maybe someday they could.
That's right. It's like as if there are other religions out there that have gone thousands of years off of a prophecy or an artifact that does nothing, but still we kill people over it. Anyways.
But at least the armor's real. Like at least the armor.
Yeah, we get payoff in this armor. Yeah, I mean this religion is actually like okay. All right.
It does a thing, like you know, worshiping it, whatever. But at least you can point to it and be like, "Here's a thing that does a thing."
Yeah.
But that whole them being in the temple and worshiping this armor, I got really heavy like Halo vibes from it too, where it felt like we got this guy who finally dons the armor and he's a badass and he's got to fight these Catholic aliens or whatever they are, and it was a lot. I like this issue a lot.
Yeah.
It captured one of my favorite fictional tropes in that moment when he's standing there and he's like, "No, I am the X-O Manowar." That's not what he says, but that's what his body language is saying. The trope is victim all of a sudden becomes a fucking monstrous, unstoppable force of vengeance, and that's just badass. I love that. Could not get to that next issue quick enough. And in that next issue, we get some pretty what I would call big payoffs, because in issue 3, the first half of it is just Aric laying waste to Vine, mercilessly slaughtering Vine. He's very unhappy.
Complete easy mode, like Captain Marvel against Thanos' big ships. Easy mode, just like boop, 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 boop.
Yes, and that's what we wanted to see. Like we didn't want to see him barely get out once he had the armor. We wanted to see a complete turning of the tables, and that's what we got. Unfortunately, he was unable to save his friends, but he escaped in the armor, and then he returned to Rome, but not the same Rome. He returned to modern day Rome. Oh yeah, let me blow you up real quick. What are you showing us?
It grew him a new hand.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Has anybody played Resident Evil Village yet?
It's my strong hand.
No. Well, there's a joke for that, but pass.
The armor came in very handy. Okay. So basically, he's back in modern day Rome,
Just kidding.
Oh, and he's back. He's back. So I wanted to kind of discuss a little bit more here, because we've been kind of flying through just the issue by issue, but here I think this is a very interesting kind of like conundrum, because he's back in modern day Rome and this is his home, but it's not really his home anymore. Completely, like 16 centuries have passed, and it's completely different. People live there. It's completely different. He is the invader there now. And he gets there, he smashes the Colosseum, and you see like some kid taking with his dad, like they're like taking pictures and stuff, and you're like, oh, this is happening now, and he's just completely lost, and it kind of leaves there that the issue kind of ends with kind of like this, oh, what the fuck? He's never going home because home doesn't exist anymore. How crazy would that how crazy would that be? You just get there, you get home, and it's just like not home anymore. There's no more Visigoths.
That's right. Yeah. I would say that I found that whole part interesting because there's no way for you to like turn on a dime like that in your mind. Like,
right.
Rome is Rome. You can't, right? And so I look at things like the Colosseum and stuff like that, where to us, like, oh, this is history. This is great. But I'm like, imagine if I fast forwarded 4,000 years into the future, and there's like this old, ancient bronze statue of like Trump or some shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh man, like I'm gonna piss on it, or I'm gonna do something funny, like or whatever.
They're like,
right?
This is a sacred artifact.
God, that thing's like 4,000 years old from a society that doesn't even exist anymore. And I'm like, what?
Fuck
what?
that. Yeah,
so that's him, like fucking up like these like jets and like, oh fuck Rome. I'm like, no, different Rome.
Right, right. It's interesting. It just kind of like makes, I can't really say what is supposed to happen there, but it's just a kind of like, I don't think you see that a lot in fiction. I mean, is there another fictional example of that? That's kind of like uncharted fictional territory of, you just, that rage. It is very believable. Like you 100%. Said. Yeah. So yeah, I really like that part. Glynis, any thoughts on that?
I just like that, like, he's prepared to get home. Like, this is, okay, my friends died, and I had this traumatic event, and I got a new hand, and I got a fancy suit, but I'm going to head home. I'm going to see my wife. And then he gets there, and, like, I like that he's also ready. Like, okay, landed, what the hell? This isn't where I'm from. But he's like, let's do it. Let's go. That's a pretty quick recovery period.
Right. He's got that warrior mindset. He's like, he's the guy that charges into the Roman phalanx.
Right.
Like a maniac.
And like things have changed clearly, but they haven't changed enough that I'm not going to murder you because you're Visigoths.
Right.
So I would say it was, sorry, Chris, go ahead. I'm talking too much.
What
do you got on this?
A bit to what Robo said. The only, and forgive me for the reference, but I read these books when I was in 7th grade. But the whole time travel portion of this just brings me back to when I used to read the Ender's Game books and how that universe handled time and space. And so it really felt familiar to me because I had read that series all those years back and I knew how that worked. But then the way he enters and is just like Roman pigs, like puts his fist down, like I'm going to fuck some people up. Yeah. Just felt really believable.
That rational brain that's like, something's off. Maybe these aren't my enemies anymore. Or maybe they're my enemy. They're so far removed from my enemies that they don't matter. That's not there. He's pure emotion and anger because this shit just happened to him.
Well, he doesn't have the understanding that like Ender did in those series where he knew like that's what's happening. Where this guy's just like, it's been like a year or two and I'm going to go home and bam, I'm home. Look at me. I'm in Rome. He has no clue that's been 6 until we get to the next issue, obviously, but he has no clue. He just sees he's in Rome. This is Roman scum that he's going to kill, and that's all he cares about.
So he does rescue a pilot. He rescues a pilot just to get some answers, I think. Yeah. And the pilot tells him, and then his armor sort of fills in the gaps. Like you see this like sequence of panels where it's like, this happened and whatever, I'm not going to find it right off the. Yes, I will. It's right. Yeah. So he's like gets kind of like a history lesson, like August 24th, 410 AD.
Oh,
May
right.
29th, 11. Yeah, he gets kind of like his armor kind of gives him like this little update, but I don't think that's enough for someone to adjust their mindset. You know what I mean?
Well, you gotta ask. So the question I have for you is, or for everybody really, is is what do you think that those panels are saying? Like really though, like really, could it be interpreted as like a download sort of deal, or is there a video playing in front of you? Here's some pictures. That's not going to help.
I took it as Neo, like I learned kung fu, like it just bam, it's in his head because they kind of establish in issue 2, I think it was, that like he gets it and he's like, all this information is going into my brain, or he doesn't say brain, but into my head, and I don't know what's going on. He's screaming in agony, and I think they set that to later on when they're like, here's these panels in issue 4 to say this happened, this happened, this happened, and then he wakes up. He's like, I know kung fu. Like that's how I took it.
Yeah,
yeah. And even if it is like, oh, I know kung fu, you can learn facts without learning understanding. Like the Visigoths had no concept of a space-time continuum. The idea that time was relative or that time could happen without you being aware of it, that just wasn't an academic concept at the time. Nobody understood that. So even if he is getting like this download of like, oh, the Rome passed hands and then there's the Byzantine Empire and blah, blah, blah. Even if he knows that, he still doesn't know like how it's still like such a mind fuck to him. Like he just can't possibly be prepared for it. Ibrahim over here, was it really time travel? If he was removed from Earth for over 1,000 years, I kind of likened it similarly to how Captain America was on ice. We're traveling through time right now. I mean, it is time travel.
But more to his point though, was it like true? We're all traveling through time. Got it. But what I mean to say is did it blip? Did the suit take him to another time, or was he traveling for 1,000 years and we get to fast forward?
It was kind of like in that movie Interstellar when they go to that one planet where they're there for 5 minutes and when they get back to the ship, the dude's old. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay.
So it was like that. It was like time moving differently in different parts of the universe.
I would call that true time travel. Like,
he
would have gone crazy just sitting there for 1,000 years.
That's why I made the Ender series reference. Like that's how time and space interact together, and time is relative to blah 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 blah. But that's how I took it. Like, they've been in space for a couple of years, but it's really been this long on Earth.
Sure.
So
yeah, it's just establishing that the Vine has like faster than light travel.
Yeah.
So things get really weird in this 4th issue, and I like the 4th issue, but
talking about time.
Talking about time.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a funny issue because it like really just blows up the plot. Because like at the end of 3, you're like, okay, but what happens now? Is he about to fight the world? But no, what we're actually getting a look at is the current status of the Vine. The Vine are not out of the game. So in the aftermath of issue 3, the Vine are not happy. They want to reclaim the armor. They're still all about this armor. Meanwhile, Aric is just sort of coming to terms with this new situation. The military's on his case. This is where he takes on the jet. Okay, sorry, everybody. This is when he saves the pilot, and then he learns that the Visigoths no longer exist. We also get introduced to Alexander, who... what a weird character, because when we first meet him, he has like 30 sex workers over at his house, and they're all dying to have sex with him. Like they're like he's just this like he's got this golden dick that everybody wants a piece of. I guess that was why. What a choice, you know what I mean? That was how we were introduced to this character.
Well, he says like when he shoos them away, he goes, "Next time I'll pay you double." So I'm guessing that he was paying all these people good money to be like,
okay,
come over here and like touch my penis a little bit.
Yes,
I got it. Okay, and they were just okay. So for them, it was like, his job. But anyway, it was just interesting, like this libido of this guy.
Right.
So we're introduced to him, and we find out he's an Earthbound Vine double agent living undercover, living a life of a human as a Vine. And so there's this Vine communication technique where they all kind of go into their trance, and now they're talking in like the nether realm with each other or whatever. And they're talking about the armor, how it emerged in Italy, and it's a very big deal. So basically meets with the brain trust to figure out what to do. And that's sort of like, I'm sure I missed a couple things, but that's basically the gist of the issue. And we're left with like kind of like the teaser for issue 5, which we're not going to talk about today. And it's called Enter Ninjak. So that's exciting.
So my confusing transition for talking about time, what I meant was that trance right there. So think about what's been happening is you have the Vine and with the double agents, this is a council of individuals. This part blew my mind. I was really like, oh, I see what's fucking going on. The Vine and the religion and the council was operating back in Roman times. He gets the armor, ports to the modern times, and that same council, the same Vine aliens, are now talking to modern day. Like this is a council, an event, a conspiracy that transcends time. Like because they can bounce around, do whatever, and it's just one council. I thought that was really fucking cool.
Really, really cool.
Well, we didn't talk about it, but I think it was in issue 1 where they set the first like kind of sleeper agent. They shot that baby up with heroin, and gave it to a new mother.
Yeah,
I had completely forgotten about that by the time we got to the end.
Yeah,
right.
Wow.
But I've read this 3 times now, and I still haven't put that together until just now. So really good observation. Really good observation.
I appreciate you guys' honesty because I was just gonna sit here and be like, "Yup, the baby. That's right." Pretending I knew it.
Right.
It stuck with me because it's such a not a funny image, but like a fucked up image of like there's this little baby and we have this giant needle. Let's just like inject him with this serum, and I'm just like, oh god.
Why are you doing this?
And then let's not talk about it again for 3 issues.
Yeah.
You said episode. You said in the episode, the first issue.
Yeah, it's in the first issue.
Christ. Yeah,
it's right here. It's right here. Yeah. The weird.
Oh, the baby like morphs.
The Kylo Ren looking dude is there. Yep, there it is. And he morphs briefly, and then he kind of goes back to.
So these people are all actual aliens. They just do the injection thing and make them. So that dude who went into the trance is a Vine alien, not a double agent.
So no, I feel like he's a descendant of that thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
But and I'm not going to spoil too much, but there's a little bit of a not all the Vine are getting along with each other, and some of them have grown quite fond of Earth.
As councils do. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so what do you think are the takeaways here? I would say this is one hell of a first volume, a first 4 issues of a comic book series, nay, of a comic book universe. So what was without giving like a what's the word I'm looking for? Without making a quality statement of like it was good or it was bad, just what was your takeaway here? Anyone?
G, you go first.
Oh, like my 1 sentence takeaway is I want to read the next one, and I'm really glad that I bought the first 3 in one go.
Yeah.
Right on.
I'll say it does everything that the first volume needs to do. Like it introduced us to the concept, introduced us to the character. We got into the armor quick. We got to see how badass this character was, and we got an idea of like who was it? Was it Danny that said the Captain America, like a man out of time story?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry if I credit that to the wrong person, but
it was Ibrahim Jala.
Okay, Ibrahim. But it gave us all the elements and then kind of set up a conflict right in the last issue. Like we know who the bad guys are. Now they're on Earth in the present, and we got our character on Earth in the present, and bam, now we can tell kind of the big bad conflict between these two. So all in all, I thought it was successful in everything it needed to do as a volume 1 to a character and universe that I know had comics prior to this, but for all intents and purpose, nobody knew who these people were and who these characters were. I know there are some hardcore fans that did, but for the most part, anyone picking this up probably doesn't know who X-O Manowar is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My takeaway, and we kind of talked about this a little bit before the stream, but yep, it's kind of like, why is this not the biggest Hollywood movie that's ever been made? I mean, think about X-O Manowar, the movie, number 1, based on these first 4 issues, with like an Iron Man budget. Just think about how stunning that would be. James Cameron directs it or whatever. Like, man, that would be fucking amazing.
Geez, first choice, clearly.
Who plays Aric?
Who plays Aric? That's like very good.
Superman dude. What's his name?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy series, so
Yeah.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Easy. That was easy.
Yeah. Oh man. I didn't have any like actual like takeaways besides like that weren't qualitative. I want to see what's happening. I want to see what happens next. I'm kind of and I guess we'll get qualitative. I guess we'll what I don't see anything super different. I like reading stories that don't remind me of anything else. And right now, I have a strong Thor / Iron Man vibe, right? So the suit picks the guy, and now we have the deal, and it does stuff like Iron Man's suit does for him. Sometimes, he just the AI knows better.
With the historical component as well.
Sure. So, but I like it. I definitely like it. If we're going to that point next, I can't wait for the next volumes. I know somebody said up here, Danny said the next volume is his favorite. So, yeah, this is gonna be good.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Robo, I did get heavy Rom the Space Knight vibes as well.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. I got to blow this up real quick. Have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to you guys today. It's fun to listen to people read this for the first time. But check this out. This the last sentence. Don't forget, Eternal Warrior first appeared in issue 1. That's true. I
remember reading that somewhere. Like I didn't catch it this time, but
it will all be clarified. Like this is not doesn't stay like too secret a thing for long, but that is kind of something to maybe go back and scan for, looking for, Mr. Three Scars.
This is we're looking for 3 scars. Is that what he said?
This is something that Judah you should write down, and then when we get to that point, be like, "Hey, remember when I said that thing in episode 1? This is what I'm talking about, guys."
I will do that
when we get to the Eternal Warrior.
When we get to the Eternal Warrior, well, really, you'll have to spend a lot of time with the Eternal Warrior before you even get to Eternal Warrior. I think it's Greg Pak solo series. But do you guys have any, or do you have any criticisms for this first 4 issues? Anything that you think could have been better, or anything you think kind of sucked or was stupid or anything like that?
Just what I already said. I like the originality, and who knows, maybe this was first. I don't know, but that would be the only thing. Just like he's worthy. He has a suit. Now he's gonna do stuff with the suit. So I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead, G.
Oh, my only gripe is the same gripe. Anytime you do something historical, and like, wow, they all have beautifully perfect teeth, and like,
right,
all really healthy, and wow, your wife has shaved her entire body somehow.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
But like, it's Conan the Barbarian. It's like Prince Valiant. It's I get it. I get what you're going for a thing, and you did it, and I respect that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So yep. I agree with Robo on what he said. If I had to really get like something out there that's negative, I'll say, like, to get super nerdy, the panel layout is pretty bland. It's pretty basic.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do a whole lot to really do anything unique or different with it. It's just a very basic panel grid that they do.
6 to 8 panel rectangular layouts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the art inside of it is phenomenal. But like I said, that's if I have to really say something negative. It didn't bother me. It's just, it was kind of bland in how it was presented.
Sure.
I think you can defend that with like, well, if it's the first of like a universe, then this is easy for people who maybe don't read comics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why I'm reaching deep for something to criticize. Like, this isn't like the thing that's like, this is garbage because the panels.
All right, so Chris hates this book.
There are, I think you're mostly. Oh, whoops! I blew up.
Whoa!
I think you're mostly right, but there are a couple like this panel right here.
Yeah,
there's
that's
some
the one example.
Yeah, it is the one example.
out of a whole volume, not even the issue.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'll tell you
Cool.
one thing I did like. This is cool. It's just a little bit of a nerd thing for me. When his armor did that thing right there, so they're trying to get a lock on, and and his armor creates some angles, and I wondered to myself, I'm like, I wondered if people like not in the Air Force knew what was happening right then and there, or just assumed like, oh, the armor did something to break the lock. So when they're designing like F-35 and stuff like that, they're the stealth
These
bombers.
are Typhoons.
Yeah. The superheroes, or what are they called? But the ones that break radar is based off of the shape design of the aircraft. So like regular shaped aircraft, they're designed to like get that signature. So they made these sharp lines on the 117 and all that stuff in the F-35 to kind of break radar signature, so it bounces off in a weird way. So his armor created all these sharp angles so that it couldn't lock on anymore. And I was like, oh wow, they did their homework right there.
Do you think the armor learned that from like downloading Earth's history, or do you think it knew to do that?
Possibly.
Already?
So go ahead.
I would
So
also assume that if it's an alien technology, they probably knew that.
Right, how to break radar? Yeah, it's basic physics. Yeah.
This is how I read it. So this is how I read it. If you look at the missile, the way they drew the missile is very accurate to like an AIM-9 or like an air-to-air missile. Like the head of the missile has
camera,
the targeting apparatus, the camera that also projects a laser and is a laser guided munition. So we have stuff right now that's advanced enough to to tell when it's being lased and respond accordingly. And armor is like far more advanced than anything the world has ever seen. So it would not surprise me if the armor could be like, oh shit, some weapon is targeting me. So that's kind of just how I read that.
Yeah. And plus, if you think about it, when you go back to the council thing, when you go back to the various points where people from different parts of time are talking to each other, the armor, like whether we're talking like metaphysical or not, or whether the religion is accurate or not, I think the armor transcends space and time. This dude is in the middle of space and just pops them. So to be able to have that knowledge is not so much, oh, I downloaded it or I learned it. It's like I know everything. I don't know if everything will work, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
I'm really interested to know, like the origin. I think the biggest thing I want to know is more about the armor. I don't really care about the guy. I want to know about
so Chris is going to like this, but where we learn the most about the armor is actually in an event.
Nice.
Chris loves events.
Did anyone, I don't know, it looks like Robo, you read this digitally?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got it off of I gave my money to Jeff Bezos because I heard he's hurting right now. Pandemic.
Yeah,
so,
he needs some cash. He had a second job going and everything. Yeah. So, G and Judah, you had the trade. Did either of you scan this little thing here?
I didn't, because I don't know how those work.
Okay, I didn't either, but I was just like staring at it afterwards, like,
I did it like like a year and a half ago. I did it. Let me see if I can do it again. Hold on, bear with me. You guys
just open up your camera. Your camera will read it.
Yeah, I do like the idea that they hired a voice actor for like one clip in the back of a book.
Well, this was actually in comic shops. Poster. I remember this poster when it came out, but yeah.
So there was a YouTube video, and if you placed your phone here, the YouTube video would be his mouth.
Yeah.
And the video no longer exists. How bummer!
Come on, Valiant!
Wow.
What a bummer!
We gotta get that up. We gotta get that back up.
I'm gonna have to send an email to Greg and let him know like there's a problem.
Well, at the very least, I mean, I know you're being funny, but hit him up and see if we get an answer. Like, hey, what happened?
Yeah,
why'd you guys have to take this down?
We could make that we'll make it a Patreon reward. Like if you pledge $5 a month, you can access Manowar's voice.
Or we could find some way to hack it and make it say subscribe and like IFLC.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. So that is our inaugural episode of Club Valiant. Real quick, just around the room, score it out of 10. What do y'all think? 10? You think that's fair, or maybe 5?
Oh, out of 10. I thought she was like, is 10 a fair score? I was like, oh. Sure.
What do you think?
out of
Yeah.
10, and I give it a 7 right now. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Chris, G, and then myself.
The panels just couldn't do it too. No, I'm with Robo 7. It was good.
I think I was gonna say I didn't want to set the bar too high, but like I'm gonna go like an 8. I really liked it. I don't know. I think,
Oh wow!
like,
even
if
with the
this
panels
is-
the way they were.
even
with
with
the
the
panels?
No, I actually like the simple panels because I get confused reading comics really easily. So I will spoiler something. So I'm like, oh no, I was supposed to read over here.
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think for someone starting a whole new universe, like this has gotten me very jazzed to read more. So I'm gonna go 8.
Dope.
Nice.
All right, we can only go up from there.
Not 9 for me. I love it.
Stop.
I
9?
Yeah.
This is a
Do you
near
remember-
perfect volume for you.
You remember me raving about this? I've been raving about this for years.
Yeah. But I mean,
I love this. I love it.
so you're saying this is a near perfect volume?
Yeah, I'd say near perfect volume.
Like-
it left me overwhelmed with excitement. Like by the end, I was like,
You're an excitable person, though. So.
I was like, holy shit, I need to read volume 2. I was fully committed by the end, and I've read it multiple times. Every time I read it, I like it even more. I just think it's a really exciting story. It reminds me of my favorite stories ever, like Spartacus and shit like that. So yeah,
Like,
I really enjoyed it.
It's
This is
no Doom
maybe-
Patrol number 70.
is
The
that
people who know
kill
know. The people who know.
Right on.
I
Doom
give
Patrol
it,
number 7?
I think extra points because Robo won't know, but like this paper is amazing.
Really
I love
good paper.
Turning each page, yeah, like this just feels amazing. It's
High
that-
quality trades.
The glass
It's
on
not-
this was just like it was just something else. It was just
Dude,
like.
But like when you're reading digital comics, I was reading The Long Halloween on digital, and you can zoom in and you're on an individual panel, and like reading that, it's like you're watching a cartoon.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
there is something to digital comics that's almost better. I don't know.
Especially Comixology's panel by panel. When
Yes.
it's done properly,
Yes.
it's really nice the way it flows.
It makes it feel like you're watching something with subtitles, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda cool.
Yeah.
So you're right, like the action comic kind of deal where this series, this little search the panels are what sold digital comics for me because I wasn't sure if I would like it. And it was Iron Man holding out his fist to Doctor Strange saying Mustache Bros. And as I swipe, he's holding it out. He's like, Mustache Bros. And then
And he just
Doctor
stands
Strange-
there.
And he's like, and I swipe, and he does it again. And I swipe, and then I almost like, I'm like, am I not swiping right? And then I swipe again. He's like, fine. And I was like, the first thing that popped in my head was like, I would never be able to get that on paper. Like that was actually
Yep.
really cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It works well with surprises too,
Yeah.
or like horror type surprises.
Yeah.
So the next volume, and this is gonna be in 2 weeks. We'll blast out the date. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and you'll be the first to be notified of what we have coming down the pipeline. But the next book is X-O Manowar Volume 2 by Robert Venditti, and this one is called Enter Ninjak. I'll make myself large just for a second so you can sort of see this. This is the next book. So go ahead and get it. It's 4 issues, issues 5 through 8. And we're going to read it. We're going to do the same thing we did this week, only about this. So definitely want to see everyone who came this time in 2 weeks. Real quick, plugging. I know that a lot of people have left the chat because we're winding down, but honestly, wish you'd stuck around because just a reminder, on the 2nd of June, we are going to be giving away 3 highly sought after and difficult to acquire Bad Idea comics. We're going to be having a raffle. It's going to happen during the stream, so you only have to do 2 things. You got to subscribe and you got to be in the stream, and that's it. That's it. From there, you're just along for the ride, and maybe you'll win ENIAC number 1, ENIAC number 2, or Tankers number 1. So definitely want to be there. Besides that, right after this stream, we're going to do a Army of the Dead react. I don't know how long it's going to go. I think it's going to be really fun.
More of a review. We're not watching it. We're not watching.
Yeah,
it.
it's going to be a review. Like it's going to be our reaction to what we've already seen. Yeah,
Kind of a spoiler
And then-
cast.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then just stay tuned to I Freaking Love Comics because we have an interview with Matt Kint next week. We're going to be talking to Warren Simmons in a couple weeks. We're going to be talking to Alex Packnadell in a couple weeks. And somehow, I don't know how, we landed an interview with Tom Brevoort. So that's going to happen as well. If you just monitor the space, you're going to see all that stuff. And it's going to be pretty awesome. Chris, you got anything about anything you might want to leave people with about your channel?
If you like podcasts, check this show out on Podcatchers. It is out on Spotify, Stitcher, and a few others, and it'll keep going to more as they accept it. And if you want more comic book news, my show, Fortress Comic News, tomorrow, if you're watching this on the 23rd, we interview Cullen Bunn for like the 800th time, but he has 1,000 books out a day. So I love the man. He's become somewhat of a friend. He's now the great and powerful Cullen Bunn to me. So yeah, check that out.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
I know she hasn't plugged anything, but don't think that means that they don't do anything, because G is a moderator on Facebook. Check us out on Facebook. They make sure that everyone
what you like, so I can read it.
That's right. G, you do the book club stuff on the in the I Freaking Love Books and all that. So check us out on Facebook and everywhere else. Ladies, gentlemen, MBs, that is the end of this show. Stick around. Check us out on Twitter, because right after this, I think, what do you guys say, in about 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes. I got to take a leak. Let me take a leak.
Yeah, right? so in about 10 minutes, if you want to talk about Army of the Dead and to have some spoiler talk, we're going to be right back live to talk Army of the Dead. Hope to see you there. See ya. Woo!